The American Central Intelligence Agency has been accused of manipulating citizens of countries all over the world, including Canada. At the moment, a number of Canadians are considering suing the CIA. They believe they are victims of covert CIA experiments. Tonight, two Canadians who feel the past 20 years of their lives were damaged by the CIA tell their stories publicly for the first time. They believe they were part of a CIA project called Mkultra, a research project so secret that even the Canadian government was not informed that the agency was funding activities in this country. The CIA was seeking a new weapon, aimed not at the body, but at the mind.
On April 10, 1953, Allen Dulles, the director of the CIA, gave a speech at the Princeton Alumni Conference. In it, he warned of the brain warfare being carried out by the Soviet Union.
The target of this brain warfare is the minds of men, both on a collective and on an individual basis. Its aim is to condition the mind so that it no longer reacts on a free will or rational basis, but responds to impulses implanted from outside. The Soviets are now using brain perversion techniques as one of their main weapons in preempting the Cold War. Some of these techniques are so subtle and so abhorrent to our way of life that we have recoiled from facing up to them.
Only 3 days later, on April 13, 1953, Dulles ordered the creation of CIA project Mkultra, to be headed by director Dr. Sidney Gottlieb. Their mission? To explore if mind control could be used against the United States' enemies, to find out if world leaders could be drugged without their knowledge, to produce a perfect truth drug, to erase memories, to create the Manchurian Candidate. Millions of dollars were poured into dozens of research projects. The CIA used front organizations to funnel money to various universities, prisons, and private researchers. These researchers were often unaware of where the funding was coming from, and often used test subjects who gave no consent to be experimented on. Dr. Sidney Gottlieb was a chemist who started working for the CIA in 1951. Before the existence of Mkultra, Gottlieb was conducting experiments using THC, cocaine, heroin, and mescaline, often on prisoners, but also dosing his fellow government agents. Soon, he became enamored with a relatively new drug, LSD. Gottlieb arranged for the CIA to pay $240,000 to buy the world's entire supply of LSD. He brought this to the United States and he began spreading it around to hospitals, clinics, prisons, and other institutions, asking them, through bogus foundations, to carry out research projects and find out what LSD was, how people reacted to it, and how it might be able to be used as a tool for mind control. Through these programs, LSD found its way into the hands of the public. Soon artists, musicians, writers, and hippies all across America were tripping on LSD distributed by the CIA. Ken Kesey, the author of One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, got his LSD in an experiment sponsored by the CIA. So did Robert Hunter, the lyricist for the Grateful Dead. Allen Ginsberg, the poet who preached the value of the great personal adventure of using LSD, got his first LSD from Sidney Gottlieb. The beautiful irony in this is the fact that Gottlieb had hoped to use LSD as a tool for mind control, and instead inadvertently created the counterculture movement of the 60s and 70s, a movement driven by rebellion and distrust of the government. However, many experiments carried out were anything but peace and love. Though some took LSD willingly, many others were dosed without their consent. For example, crime boss Whitey Bulger was given LSD daily for almost a year while in prison.
Bulger was one of many prisoners across America who unwittingly were fed huge doses of LSD. And the reason for this was very simple. Gottlieb wanted to create a way to seize control of people's minds. And he realized it was a two-part process. First, you had to blast away the existing mind. Second, you had to find a way to insert a new mind into that resulting void. Well, he didn't get too far on number two, but he did a lot of work on number one, trying to find out how to destroy the mind of a human being. And that was the purpose of experiments that he carried out in prisons in the United States and at secret detention centers in Europe and East Asia.
Ultimately, Gottlieb concluded that mind control was not possible, and that the reactions to LSD were far too unpredictable. He retired from the CIA in 1973, saying he did not believe his work had been effective. In the 1970s, the U.S. Senate launched the Church Committee to investigate abuses by several government agencies. On October 7, 1975, Gottlieb testified before the committee under the alias Joseph Schneider. He did not reveal much in his testimony, besides saying he had destroyed nearly all records of what he did during his time at the agency. Gottlieb was never convicted of any crimes. Gottlieb's life work consisted of torture and war crimes, all funded by the government. Few historical studies mention his name. However, behind the scenes, he inadvertently changed the entire trajectory of American history.